Strike up the band.
Are you going to Midwest this year? I want to give you some tips that are hopefully helpful to you while in Midwest. How to dress. I don't think it matters. What's important is really what's in our heart. However, I feel like sometimes we need to set an example for how we want to present ourselves to others. And plus, this is going to be a time where you're going to have a chance to meet a lot of people, and you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward. You don't have to be super fancy or have a tie. I think business casual works really well. Make sure that you have comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking a lot, and McCormick Place is large, and the trade show floor is really large. So wear comfortable shoes. And also as you dress, remember that a jacket does a lot for an ensemble. So even if you have a polo shirt on, but you have a sport coat on, I'm not sure what the equivalent is for ladies, but for guys, a jacket does a lot. There's sometimes I wear a t-shirt at school, but I have a jacket on. It's kind of a nicer t-shirt, but people will say, oh, why are you so dressed up today? Where to eat. McCormick Place is very expensive. If you have a big budget, I don't think that the food is great there, but maybe I just haven't found the right place to eat. But just a sandwich can be really expensive. There are a few fast food places nearby, but the neighborhood is a little sketchy. A lot of times what I've done, depending on where I stay, this year I'm staying at an Airbnb, but sometimes I've stayed at one of the official hotels and there were restaurants all around there. But sometimes I'll go get a Subway deal of the day and just bring that with me to eat when I get a chance while I'm watching things. So I'll get it at the same time I get breakfast. Chinatown is within walking distance of McCormick Place, and there's a lot of Chinese food there if you like Chinese food. I love a place in Chicago called Italy, as in the word eat, but ending in ali, as in Italy, but Italy. And that is kind of like a huge Italian deli, but there's like 5 or 6 restaurants inside of the place. It's huge. It's like 2 floors of a place. It was within walking distance of one of the hotels I stayed at, but I couldn't tell you where it's at now. And there are many restaurants, Giordano's, for example, in Chicago that people say are really good. It is cold outside in December in Chicago, so make sure you have warm clothes to go between your hotel and wherever you're going, because just a few minutes outside in that, if you're not used to it, can leave you freezing cold and needing a long time to thaw. Leave room in your luggage, or have one of those suitcases that you can like unzip the sides to give a little bit more room in, because there's a lot of free stuff from the exhibitors, and you'll probably want to grab some of that and bring it home with you because you may not have as much time as you'd like to go through it while there. Don't spend all your time in McCormick Place. Chicago is a really fun city. I love it. I haven't been able to bring my wife there yet. This is my 3rd time going to Midwest. Now, I love to walk. There have been times I've been there before where I've walked 15 miles. And despite the news that you hear, I feel safe in Chicago. Now, I do have to say I'm a pretty big guy. I'm a 200-pound guy. I work out, so it might be different. But me personally, I feel safe while I'm in Chicago. One piece of advice that I would give to you is that sometimes there's a walkway where you can go over a road. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of underpasses there, but you can take the way where you go over and you're on a sidewalk and you're out in public, and if it's daylight, it's light out. But there's also a way that you can go under, and it might seem like it's better because you're avoiding traffic. I always go on the over one because I feel like under there's places for people to hide who may have ill intent. So I always go the upper way, even though sometimes you have to wait for the traffic while doing that. But I have never felt unsafe. There was one time we met someone for dinner three of us met for dinner, and two of us had to walk to get there and walk back. And it was like 1 a.m. when we were leaving, and we had like a 1.5 mile walk. We felt completely safe. It was two of us, so if you are going to be out that time of night, you might want to be out with somebody. A couple of things to see when you're there. I love, even though I'm not a shopper, I loved going through what's called the Magnificent Mile, and it's just this approximately 1 mile of stores on both sides of the road, and there's all kinds of stores like you might see in a large mall. There's a pier out there. I want to go back to the pier in the summer sometime, but even in the wintertime, it can be cool to see it, especially right around sunset. Of course, Giordano's, like we had talked about, it's a deep dish pizza place, and I'm sure there's others that are good. And lastly, I want to leave you with this bit of advice. Get to know people. Introduce yourself to someone. Go outside of your comfort zone and meet someone new while there. Maybe at each session, meet someone new. Instead of sitting all the way to the left and in the back row all by yourself, find a spot and sit next to someone and start a conversation with them. And you know the conversation is going to have to end in a few minutes anyway. So if you do feel uncomfortable, it's not going to have to be, you're not going to have dinner with them. You're just getting to know them. And have a great time and learn a lot.
The Music and Podcast, where you get quick and easy tips for how to be a better band team.